I never expected to see you again. Not this soon.
Crying Gamer!
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Just Binged Watched with the Crying Gamer, man. In the movie that the series rather that we binge watched was V Wars, man. Anything about vampires. When I heard that, I was like, I gotta see it, man. Love a vampire movie. But before we do the overview and review of season 1, we're gonna go ahead and watch the trailer in 1, 2, 3.
Did you hear that too? I think there's something downstairs.
Authorities in upstate New York reported a series of attacks called vampire killings.
We need you, Doctor. All the victims have been missing a lot of blood.
Oh my god.
So what do we know so far?
This is a modified virus causing DNA transformations.
I need your help, buddy.
I don't know what I've become. I am your brother. Together we will find a cure for this. Go, go, go.
The man you knew is gone.
My people and I are not terrorists, and as much right to live as anyone else. Horrible as it will be, this war is also necessary. Blood Nation will prevail.
The infection is spreading faster than any of us could have anticipated.
We're killing this thing.
I'm a doctor. I can help make you better.
I need to feed.
You join in with us, or die alone.
What happens now?
I need a doctor. I am a doctor.
So first of all, let's talk about what V Wars is about. V Wars is about two friends, Michael, and I'll just call this guy the Doctor, as you can see right here. This is Michael. This is the Doctor right here. Okay? So pretty much, they are called upon to go investigate a missing researcher that was in Antarctica. He went missing, hasn't been responding. He was, doing his research thing. So they sent them out there. When they arrive to a bloody scene. So they know something is wrong. The door is open, and they go in, into this little laboratory that this research doctor had made up, or facility that's in that area. And they look around. No signs of the doctor. So they do recognize some blood, some pathogens in the air. So they are exposed to it. So they realize that they're exposed. They contact the facility back home. Listen, we're coming back, but we may need to be quarantined to find out if this, if our exposure is detrimental to the public, or are we a danger now to the public because we've been exposed to whatever this pathogen is that we were exposed to. So they are now quarantined. A host of studies is done on them, and they are cleared to return back into the population because they are deemed safe. They didn't see anything wrong. So now that they are released, right, the doctor has no signs over the months. But on Michael's case, which I said is this gentleman right here. This is Michael and the doctor. Michael is suffering severe issues. I mean, some will call them actually a blessing, I guess, because he has increased sight. He heals faster. He hears better. He's stronger. He runs. But he also has this taste for blood where when he looks at people, he can see the veins just pulsing. Boom, 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 boom. And he's a vampire. And he needs to feed to stay alive. So that's a problem, So long story short, he feeds out of necessity, not more so of a killer aspect. It is necessity. If I need to feed, I'll feed. So in this particular instance, he feeds on a young lady, kind of blacks out, doesn't know what's going on. He calls his friend, the doctor, who's the doctor, but like, listen, man, I need your help. This is what happened. I don't know if I did this. I don't know what's going on, but I can't deal. Something's just not right. I can hear things. I can see things. I can sense things. It is ridiculous. And the doctor, of course, thinks that it's all in his head. But when he sees the bloody scene, he's like, whoa, I need to call the cops. And Michael's like, no, you don't. Whoa, chill out, man. Chill out. I need to figure out what is going on first. Please don't do that. Help me clean this up. So the doctor helps him clean up the scene, but that rests on his conscience the whole time. So he eventually ends up going to the police, telling them, I witnessed a murder and my friend was involved. And so obviously he was arrested for being an accessory to it. And from there, there's this epidemic going on where the people that Michael changed now are now multiplying, and it just gets crazy. And of course, they bite the next one, and the next one, and the next one bites the next one. So while Michael is we know that Michael is not. So we know that Michael is having complications and problems. So what about the doctor? He's not exhibiting any, right? But he has intercourse with his wife. He's around his child, and his wife also gets infected with it, and it seems. And I won't ruin anything else. I'm trying not to ruin it for you guys. Not too much here. So he ends up killing his wife, and he's on the hook. So the doctor, even though nothing was shown, he had intimate relations with his wife, so he ended up infecting his wife. He also has a child. I won't tell you about that or what happened with him. You can watch the show for that. He ends up killing his wife in self-defense of someone, and he is therefore arrested. And he's trying to explain to them that there is something going on here. He explains to the police about the whole incident of the lab incident and being exposed, and something's just not right. And while he's there, the government comes down on him. They get him out of the local precinct because they know that there's a bigger problem going on. They kind of want to get a hold of it, and they use certain measures to get the doctor to work with them, kind of like blackmail. But they had to do what they had to do, and they're trying to find a cure, allegedly, or maybe they're not. Who knows? But there's some shady people in the organization there as well. So as time goes on, Michael now is starting to embrace it. He's starting to embrace it. That's this gentleman, if you're getting confused right here. He's starting to embrace it. And he begins to feel like he is the shit. He is the upper echelon he is the evolved species, and the people that he's turned now are going crazy. And they look at him now as Project Zero, the Messiah, the king, the one who could lead them because he is the first. So he gets them all together to protect their lives. He's like, listen, he was convinced by another lady that was turned that, listen, in order for us to survive, we need to work together. We need a leader. And Michael, it is you, because you are the first. People respect you. So he forms Blood Nation, and it's like the Democrats, Republican type of thing, and they go through a political jargon between the government and them. We need to set rules, and these are our rules, and X, Y, Z. The government wants to exterminate them, and they're like, listen, we don't really want to kill all of you. We just feast out of necessity, and both groups are trying to work together to find some sort of common ground to live together. So that is pretty much the gist of the show. It's just sort of like this new species trying to live with humanity, although they need to feed on humanity. And there's certain acts and things that happen that kind of, keep the relationship kind of volatile, at times. And that's it, man. I'm not going to ruin any more for you. We're going to go into the acting aspect of it. How was the acting? Did it keep me into it? The acting was fair. I wouldn't say that it was anything that the acting wasn't mind-blowing. Everybody did an adequate job in the role. So don't look for any Oscar-winning performances here, tear jerkers or anything like that. It's not here. It's just average performances, in my opinion. Everybody just, It did okay. Acting was all right. It was subpar, but it got the job done. Working with the role, I guess, what they had. Let's talk about the vampires themselves. These vampires were more so savage looking. They weren't beautiful. When they turned, it was almost looked werewolfy almost. I kind of wish they went a different route with the vampires, not make them look more, have them more seductive like. But these were ravage vampires, bloody. But there was a particular one, Danica, who was turned. She had more of the more of the seductive, sensual type of vampire vibe going for her. Michael was more of the furious, ravage one. She would kind of poison the victim, sedate them, and just keep them alive and use their blood, suck their blood pretty much until they're dry. But it was more of a seductive nature. She used sex and all of that and things to kind of seduce her victims. So that was kind of two different type of vampires at the same time. So I guess it affects the host differently, I would say. So vampires are cool. I just wish, all of them were a little more seductive with it, but it was cool though. It was cool. How was the makeup? I didn't like the transformation of the vampire. I thought it was pretty corny. They got to work on the CGI a little bit. They got to tighten that up. Definitely tighten up the CGI for the transformations of Michael when he went into vampire mode. Thought it could have been done better. Put a little more money behind it just to get that better for the second season. But that was average as well. The makeup was average. The CGI was average. So let's talk about the action and the fighting and so forth. I thought the action, the fighting was timely. It was done pretty good. I have no problem with that. I thought all the action was where it was supposed to be. It didn't feel like it was just thrown in just for the sake of being thrown in. Everything was where it needed to be in regards to the shooting, the vampire bitings, and all of that type of stuff. So I had no problem with that aspect. That was cool. Let's talk about the character development. I thought the character development was actually pretty good. Actually, I like to see I wanted to see the backstory. I wanted to see how things happened and how did people change. And so let's talk about the character development. I thought the character development actually was pretty good in this. To see the change in people when exposed to it. Some were a little more savage. Some was a little more sensual. Some were, gave into it. Some people were fighting it, so you didn't really have to go, full, you didn't have to succumb to it. It kind of, if it was in your personality, it kind of took you over, but you had the ability to fight it if you so choose. Then a couple people fought it and, they became what you would call vampire slayers. There were a couple of them. One of them thought that they were born with it, and he actually did have a gift. He was able to see who was a vampire and who was not. There was one that was turned, and she kind of was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, going through enacting revenge for the act that was the act that was done to her to turn her. Development of the characters were cool. I thought it was really good. I have no problem with the character development in this, and definitely has promise. So what are my overall thoughts about V-Wars Season 1? So overall, what did I think about V-Wars, and should you binge watch this? Honestly, when I first started watching it, the first couple episodes, I was like, this looks like a B movie, corny. I wasn't really feeling the transformation of the vampire. When they transformed the vampires, I wasn't really feeling that. But as I continued to watch it, I actually started to become more involved in what was going on. I thought every episode, got better and improved more and more, and it kind of drew me in to the whole lore, of the, or not more necessarily the lore. There wasn't too much lore. They can make the lore if they wanted to, if they go back to say maybe where did this ancient vampires, maybe a flashback or something. They could have did that to show the ancients if they wanted to, but they didn't. Maybe they'll save that for a later episode. But it kept me involved to see what was really going to happen next in this political war, between the physical war and political war between these two fractions now, where they kind of have to live together almost. So it kind of, in that aspect, it kept me interested in it to see what will happen. Let's talk about the Doctor right here. I liked his character development because he really was fighting the urge to kill as well, because he's a doctor. He likes to save life, but at this point in Junction, there's certain decisions that need to be made in order for people to survive, and you can see him conflicted and also kind of turn into like this aggressive type of, listen, I got to get the job done. There's no more hesitation. This is what needs to be done. Before he was hesitant, and I liked that character development with him, that change in him. You know, that was cool. That was good. So all in all, the character development and the emotional conflicting things going on with them. Should they feed? Should they not feed? Am I a killer because I'm doing this? Am I just doing this out of necessity? Do I love it? Do I hate it? You know, so every character is different in their upon being infected by this this virus that they were affected by. So all in all, I don't know if I would say this is for everybody. If you enjoy vampire movies, shows, then I would say definitely check this V-Wars out. I think it really does have potential if they just tighten up. You know, they got to tighten up some things, tighten up the action, tighten up the acting. More so anything else. They got to tighten up the acting. I want the acting to be more emotional. I want them to be more into it. I want to feel that emotion more. So I think if they tighten up the emotion, I'm pretty sure that the season's going to get better. Always that first season is they have to kind of cram the story pretty much, give you the little backdrop on what's going on, and then from season 1 and so on, it takes off. So I think so I think V-Wars actually has a lot of promise, and I can't wait to see season 2 to see what they do with that promise. But I like the premise. I definitely like the premise of it. I think season 2 would be a lot better. As of right now, for season 1, I would just give it, like, if I had to score it, I would give it a 7. Right now, just average. But it definitely has promise. So if you're into vampire movies, films, be sure to check out V-Wars. Leave in the comments. Tell me what you think. The community is kind of split on it. Some people hate it. Some people love it. But I'm like right in between. I think it really has potential to be a good little series for Netflix. So go check it out if you're a fan of the genre. I will see you on the next Just Binge Watched. Be sure to slap that like button. It helps out tremendously. We need you to slap that like button if you liked it. If not, that's okay. But anyway, I will still see you on the next video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Peace. Check out V-Wars Netflix. Came out in December.